Hello, LifePoint. I hope that each one of you are having a wonderful start to the new year. I'm so thankful for each one of you. I'm so thankful for a church that delights in gathering together. I'm so thankful for a church that delights in singing together. I'm so thankful for a church that delights in the word of the Lord, that loves to worship the Lord in spirit and in truth. And that's what makes this announcement all the more difficult. Tomorrow morning, January the 3rd, we are going to forego our regularly scheduled worship services at LifePoint Baptist Church. Now, this isn't a decision that I've taken lightly. In fact, it's one that I've been pressing against for the past 24 hours or so. We've had several members of our congregation test positive for the coronavirus. Now, not all of those members have been present in gatherings recently, but there are several other members who are either experiencing symptoms or who are pursuing testing even at this moment. And without a clear picture that those test results would be negative and that it would be advisable to gather together, I believe that the greatest way that we can love one another tomorrow morning and show deference to the weakest and the most vulnerable to this virus tomorrow morning is to forego our gathering. And I know that this will come as a great disappointment to a number of you. And you have to know that it's a disappointment to me to have to make this announcement even at this moment. I'm going to miss each one of you tomorrow morning. But just because we're not gathering together corporately doesn't mean that we will not worship in the morning. In fact, I want to encourage you tomorrow morning as you wake up and as you have breakfast and spend time with your family, that you would open the Bible and you would go to that familiar passage that we've been in Ephesians chapter 6, and that you would read the remaining portion of the text from verses 10 all the way through the end of Paul's writing in Ephesians chapter 6, and that you would take stock of what Paul is encouraging the church to do, to pray in all seasons and at all times, and to consider your neighbor in that moment, to consider those who have not been able to gather together this holiday season because they've either been quarantined or they're at the hospital. I want you to consider your neighbors in San Angelo who don't yet know the Lord. I want you to consider those globally in the church who might be facing persecution or difficulty. I want you to see what Paul is saying in those closing verses that we'll be discussing when we gather again. And that is that we certainly go to the Lord in prayer at all times, but we are to pray for the whole body of Christ, and we are to pray for the whole glory of God. And I want to encourage you that at 10:30, that the hour that we would normally gather together, to spend a little bit of time singing praises to the Lord and then going to the Lord and praying for God's glory and for God's church. And in that moment, though we may not be able to gather bodily, know that we are gathering together in spirit and in truth. Beloved, I'm so sorry that we're not going to be able to gather together tomorrow morning. I'm so sorry to make this announcement so late, but I want you to know that I love each and every one of you and that I will be praying with my family for you in the morning. Lord bless each and every one of you.